Today we go deep into the forest of NFTs. Now, as you guys know, I believe NFTs are the absolute future of this industry. I'm personally about to unleash this very month on you the actual full white paper and overview for my NFT project. But in the lead up to that, I'm going to be chronicling some of the better and more interesting NFT projects out there in the space. This particular project made it to my November altcoins list, and it's coming into December with a total bang. Today, we're going to be talking about F1 Delta Time and their token Rev, which, as you'll soon find out, is a very interesting project here in the NFT space, attracting some absolutely ridiculous dollar figures for their in-game assets. When you combine scarcity and utility and an experience that people can connect to and relate to, it is a combustible equation. And as you'll soon find out, this Rev ecosystem and the assets within it are attracting some absolutely astronomical dollar figures as far as market value. If you guys are excited to go deep into the sea of NFTs and actually find out about non-fungible tokens that are absolutely skyrocketing in value, then do me a favor and destroy that like button, turn it blue, or just, gently press it, whatever. It really helps me and the YouTube algorithm understand that you value this content. With that said, let's dive in and talk about everything cool going on with Rev and F1 Delta Time. So last week we introduced you to Rev here, the token for this ecosystem, and it's up to about 2.5 cents. It was about 1.8 when we covered it, and it's been a nice, slow, steady gainer. And as you'll soon find out over the course of this video, you'll see exactly why. So essentially, Rev is the token for both F1 Delta Time as well as MotoGP, which is another game that they have coming, but really F1 is the more realized, more fully built out ecosystem. But the token is actually valid for more than just one ecosystem. So what's going on right now is they're having their, 2020 sale, because every year, with a sport like F1, things change, drivers change, teams change, and the content needs to change. So they're going to introduce content each year. And what they're doing here is they're actually having a pre-sale pool that they're doing where people are depositing their Rev tokens in order to participate into this whole ecosystem. And they've gotten already 37 million Rev deposited. And that's if they hit 40 million, as you can see here, there will be a 50% off on all content. And so essentially at 2.5 cents here, you're looking at for every million Rev, it's about $25,000. Every 10 million Rev is $250,000. And so we have here, if they get to 40 million Rev, that would mean that they're at almost $1 million in Rev that has been staked into this pre-sale pool. So they used to do this thing called crates, but they're doing things called keys, which essentially have largely the same function. These are these keys, these sort of swipe cards that you're seeing down here. And then essentially, you burn the keys to mint NFTs, which is the same as you open a pack or a crate, whatever. It's the same mechanism as like a loot box. So just yesterday, they auctioned off their first track in the game, and everything in the game is ownable. It's the tracks are ownable, the drivers are ownable, the parts are ownable. They're all scarce, and the ownership comes with certain privileges. Like, for example, on certain tracks, certain tires perform better than others. On certain tracks, certain drivers perform better than others, and cars, etc., etc. You can see how certain parts are not necessarily just better or worse than the other ones, but they actually range based upon the tracks. If you guys know anything about driving, obviously all tracks are different, and some drivers and some cars and some setups have strengths and weaknesses in different environments. You actually have to pay a small fee to race on the track, and you want to race because then you accumulate points, and by accumulating points, you get higher in the rankings, and there's actually a value attached to that. So you want to race, and then you have to pay a little bit, a very small amount to race. It's like $1 for 5 tries or something. It's kind of like an arcade play, if you will. But the reality here is that when you own the track, you actually get a percentage, a Rev share, no pun intended, of what's going on and the actual payments on the track. And so they auctioned off their first track, which is the Monaco F1 Delta Time track. Of course, Monaco is a very historic and famed track. If you guys are familiar with F1 at all, you'll know that the Monaco event is one of the most iconic events that actually takes place, I believe, in our annual cycle here. It's just filled with flashy people and absolute exorbitant wealth, and they race through the old and sort of historic streets of Monaco with these supercars. It's pretty amazing. So they auctioned off this NFT, which gives you ownership of their Monaco track and rev share in their Monaco track for $222,000. They actually did it in rev. They did it 9 million rev, which is approximately $222,000. And this is coming from Yatsu's Twitter, who's the owner of Animoca Brands and the company company sort of behind this whole NFT ecosystem. Animoca has actually been one of the strongest investors in the NFT space. They backed CryptoKitties, they backed Flow Blockchain, they backed Axie Infinity, they backed Sandbox Game. They've literally backed like every meaningful NFT platform, OpenSea. The list goes on. They're kind of like the Tencent of NFTs, as Box Mining called them. Anyway, this to me is a big validation. When you see the money moving, it's a big validation that this ecosystem and the people within it value what's going on here. So now this is the one area of the game I expect to evolve tremendously, because right now it's just like an auto racer. You set up your workshop, you go into a workshop. I have, my power unit, right? I can equip my power unit. I can equip my car, this epic car. It's got some stats over here. I can, equip my driver with some gloves. I can equip my driver with, a nice suit here. Let's get a turbocharger in there. You could put on a wing, all these things, and put on a rear wing, a front wing. As you can see, there's a ton of parts to collect. There's a ton of different varieties and rarities. And what happened here in this ecosystem is you need all these parts to actually compete. And so as they started introducing the competition, people started FOMOing over even like the most mundane of parts, like random suspension parts and whatever, because you needed something to actually compete. And so what ended up happening was even these sort of very mundane parts started to go up in value, which was really interesting. And it shows you when you combine the utility and you actually have a product and an experience that people want to use, it drives people to actually speculate a lot more on the in-game assets, which is really cool. And they've driven, a lot of this, their Rev token, they have really integrated it in a lot of ways. We can actually do a little time trial. And I have my Epic, I need to equip stuff again. All right, I'll equip that. And yeah, so I have this setup here, and let's go ahead and we'll do a little play, right? We'll do a little play. And so just a bit of rain today, but intermediate tires. Drivers want to go on the offensive here. Away we go. And, it would be nice if they had like a little bit more visual going on here. As you can see, it's a little bit of an auto experience here. The experience on the actual gameplay, I expect, and based on my conversations with the team, that it should be evolving a lot. Like, I would love to see this be an actual driving simulator. We can see my lap time. I came here at number 14 here at 1:43. You can see me on the leaderboards here. And you can see that some of these guys, like super fast Tony G, he was one of the top bidders. He got outbid, but you can see he's been bidding really highly on parts. And so you can see that some of these top podium performers, it's kind of like F1, how they're really like putting together championship teams and spending on it and getting it, it's really being heavily funded here. So it's a really interesting ecosystem that they've built here. And I think that this makes for a really good entree for people to start understanding the value of NFTs, because, honestly, this auto racing thing, it's not very fun yet. If this evolves into more of a traditional video game, which is what I've been pushing, right? It's all about the games. But you can see that they created a speculative frenzy here by getting the actual F1 IP and integrating it into a semi-gamified ecosystem here, which will evolve into a fully controlled game where you're actually racing the car. And if that happens, then you're combining this sort of speculator's dream situation over here where people are trading and flipping and speculating on all these parts with a good gaming experience that people are enjoying. And so that would really complete this and bring this to the next level. But at any rate, you see that there's a lot of different pieces happening here. You can see that there's the Rev token. You can see that they actually had staking where you can stake your cars and you actually get rewarded in Rev token for staking. And so this went on for a little bit. The period ended. However, they're going to be doing this again, I believe. And the more that you stake your cars, the more you get paid. It's sort of like renting your car out. It's an interesting NFT staking mechanism. And then they also have direct staking as well. So there's a few different staking models here. I didn't participate in that. They have their workshop here where you can, build out your car. And then, as things grow, hopefully they can really build out that gaming experience. So there you have it. F1 Delta Time is a pretty interesting NFT ecosystem. And we're going to be going through and showing you what's going on in this NFT world and why people are paying eye-watering $200,000 $100,000 plus dollar figures to end up claiming some NFTs for use within a video game that's not even quite fully realized yet. You can see here that the excitement around NFT gaming is really there. Whether or not you're part of this movement or not, you need to understand that digital assets, especially within gaming, are one of the most powerful trends in modern human history. More than $150 billion are spent within video games each and every year. This is the primary outlet for actually acquiring real digital assets that have utility and value to people outside of crypto. And that's one of the reasons why it absolutely has to be a primary focus for the crypto ecosystem to push into this area and really start to own it and cryptofy it. Even without a really fully realized gaming experience, this actual collector's ecosystem is having wild success, with hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent on assets within the game. It's pretty crazy to see. So I encourage you guys to check out F1 and the Rev token. I think it's going to continue to perform well, especially as they introduce more serious gaming elements. And that's why I've been excited about it. And I put it on my altcoins list last month. And I'm going to continue following up on projects like this because I think it's really important that we focus on the projects that can really attract users outside of the blockchain ecosystem. Obviously, right now, it's a speculative frenzy, but I do think that over time, this can grow into something special. And I hope you guys were excited to learn about one of the more, compelling NFT ecosystems. People are always asking what NFTs are worth looking at. And as you can see here, absolutely staggering and eye-watering dollar figures are being thrown around here in this F1 Delta Time ecosystem that is housed within the Rev token ecosystem. If you guys want to check out what's going on here with Rev and the F1 ecosystem, the links for all of this, the F1 Delta Time website is in the description below. And of course, if you actually want to get your hands on Rev, that's on Uniswap. The link for that is also in the description below. If anyone's asking, this is not a sponsored review. I'm a huge fan of NFTs and I want to see them evolve towards gaming. And so I'm going to be covering a lot of NFT focused ecosystems in the coming days. And as I unleash my own project upon you guys, which is coming right around the corner, I'm so excited for it. You guys are going to understand exactly why I'm so bullish on NFTs. If you guys got some value out of this, if you enjoyed learning about these new NFT projects, then do me a favor and smash that like button. And of course, remember that each and every comment on this video is entered to win your very own Ledger Nano S. Feel free to follow me on Twitter, join my Telegram groups. The links for both of those are in the description. As always, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Elio Trades, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.